Hi,
Ave,
Michael. How are you?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
All right. All right. I'm glad we got that worked out. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great as well. So it's morning there or it's afternoon?
Yeah. It's 12:38 right now. What about you?
Oh. So for me, it's past midnight. It's 1 a.m. right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You usually do them this late?
yeah.
You like staying up late?
So just for the discussions only. Yeah, definitely. So
You only
and
do them at night?
yeah, definitely. I do it night again. And for everyone, like we'll be talking about the mindset, fitness, and the personal development, like which is transforming the life. So let's start. Like, this is healthy waves podcast, so welcome to healthy waves, everyone. The live podcast where we dive deep into the various topics with the experts from different fields, and definitely engaging in enriching and enlightening discussions. So, I'm your host Avik, and today we are thrilled to explore another compelling subject with our special guest. So, this is where minds meet, ideas flow, and we all learn and grow together. So let's dive into today's wave of knowledge. Today's guest with us is Michael Vincent. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you, Ave. It's a pleasure to be here.
Lovely. So Michael, like before we start discussing about the topic, because the topic is very great, and I believe people would love to know more about it, know and understand this in detail. So, uh, but before we do that, I would love to mention this to all of you that Michael is a personal development coach who has inspired countless individuals through his powerful seminars and speaking engagements. So he has spoken at various businesses and the universities throughout San Diego, and hosting his own seminars and leading a coaching program called the Higher Self Program. So this program is designed to help uh, you align with your higher self through the fitness, nutrition, and the mindset. So his journey is definitely inspiring. So starting as a real estate agent at the age of 18, he was set to take over his family's successful business. So, however, a pivotal moment of self doubt led him to pursue a path of the personal growth and the resilience. So, overcoming his fears, he became the president of Toastmasters of Carmel Valley, and has since coached and inspired many through his speeches and the seminars. So his story is one of the transformation and the empowerment, like from thriving in real estate to helping others become the best versions of themselves. His journey is definitely a testament to the power of mindset and the personal development. So we are excited to hear his insights and experiences today. So thank you so much for joining us, Michael. We are looking forward to an engaging and insightful discussion on the personal development, resilience, and achieving alignment with our higher selves. So welcome again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So Michael, like uh, or the journey to the transformation, if you can share like your personal journey of the transformation and how you transitioned from real estate to becoming the personal development coach, if you want to share.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Always such great topics, always such great talks. Honestly, it's just like a 24/7 thing with me. Like I don't stop. I just am on this frequency that I'm just sharing such knowledge, such wisdom, and just elevating high. And that's such a great way to live, you know? So I'll share with you a little bit about my background. I grew up here in San Diego, born and raised. My family was well off. You know, we lived in a gated community. Finances weren't really an issue. You know, my parents weren't bawling or anything. You know, they had a nice house and nice cars, but you know, they weren't excessive spenders and things like that. So, you know, we always we were comfortable growing up. It was me and my sister. And I didn't have like the financial troubles, but I had the emotional troubles growing up. So in high school, by the time I got to high school, I was always thinking of like, what are people going to say about me? What are they thinking about me? Always thinking of how people are going to judge me and stuff. And at that time, I was dealing with such anxiety that my parents thought it was a great thing for me to get on prescription medicine. So I got on Prozac and other antidepressants, and that was like my freshman year, sophomore year, and I was dealing with that. And I could just tell at that time, even though I wasn't like fully like aware of what was taking place in my life, I was just like, I know that this isn't right. Like I shouldn't be having to take anything to be living, right? Like I feel like I should just be able to live in my natural state. So I knew right away. I was like, okay, I want to get off these prescriptions. So I did, and I went through a tough time. You know, high school was a tough time for me. I didn't do my homework, didn't take tests, didn't take school seriously. I just wasn't that interested. And it got to be like my junior, senior year when I was hanging around people, my friends, that we were just smoking weed all day. All we did was just smoke weed every day, 24/7. Didn't do our homework, didn't do tests, didn't do anything other than that. We were loving it. Life was good. We didn't have to worry about, you know, our next meal or anything like that. You know, we were comfortable. And so I did that for my whole senior year, literally every day of my senior year. And I got to be like March, April, May, and graduation's coming up and my senior year. And my friends are all telling me, oh, I'm going to Arizona, I'm going to SMU, Miami, you know, NYU, all these different colleges. And I was like, oh no, like where am I going? And at that time I didn't apply myself to school. I didn't have any choices of college or didn't get any letters in the mail or anything. Didn't take the SAT, ACT, like didn't even wasn't even in that frame of mind. So at that point I decided, you know what, I need to make a decision. I need to change my life because this isn't going how I want it to go. And this was like May, June of my senior year, and graduation was coming up like mid June. And my friends were all, I remember I was smoking weed with my friends one time, like during that time, like May, June. And we were in this canyon. We were in this canyon. We were all hanging around like their trucks. Oh my gosh. One of my buddies had a Jeep Wrangler, another buddy had a Ford Raptor. And we're hanging around and just smoking and we're just talking. And one of my friends is like, hey, how long you think you're going to be smoking weed for? And we start going around the circle and people start answering. And one of my buddies is like, oh, you know, I'm going to be that grandpa that smokes with his grandkids and, you know, has a joint with them and just has a good conversation and, you know, talks to them about life and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, like that's not the behavior that I want to engage in the rest of my life. Like, I know it's not doing anything good for me, right? It's creating a fun time right now, but you know, a lot of other things in my life are slacking off. So it came around to me in the circle, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna stop after high school. Like this is only like this. It's only for this time, like this chapter. So I committed to myself on that day. I made a decision. I'm gonna stop on the day of graduation. That'll be my final day ever smoking weed. So that day came. We had a fun time, had a great time. Graduation day, went to a party after, and that day was my last day smoking weed. And I was like, okay. And the next like 2-3 weeks was just so difficult, having to just like get away from that mindset, get away from wanting to take the easy way out and just have going and hitting a bowl or smoking when life got tough, and I realized like I can't keep looking for a way out. So then I started talking to my dad, and he was like, "Well, what are you gonna do? Like you have to do something. You know, you have to get a job or something." And I was like, "Well, why don't I come and work for you?" And he's like, "Okay, but you got to take it serious, and you have to apply, get your real estate license, and things like that." And he had a successful real estate brokerage, so I got
Mm.
involved in that. I got my real estate license, started working with him, direct mentorship with him. Obviously he's successful at it, so he kind of showed me the ropes and things like that. So things were going well. I was doing that for like 5, 6 years. I was making money, like life was good. But I could always feel something in my mind, something in my heart. I could just feel like, is this really for me, or is this
Mm.
just what my parents want for me? Just because
The
that
self
would be.
realization that time which came to you.
Say that again.
The self realization happened that time. I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like
Yeah.
24, 25, and I was
Yeah.
like, is this really for me? So I started digging deeper. I started going online, started looking up like personal development material. I came across Bob Proctor on YouTube. It was awesome because he was sharing so much about the mind, about the soul, about what we really are, about our
Mm.
conscious mind, subconscious mind, and all these kinds of things that I never knew about. No one was ever teaching that to me. So when I found it, I just became like a sponge, and I started following this information, started learning from it, taking notes every single day. I wasn't like I didn't feel like there wasn't like any like purpose to it or gain to it other than what I was gaining inside. It wasn't like it was
Yeah.
paying me or I was sharing it with anyone at that time. It was just like it just felt so good to just learn this information because it made me
Mm.
feel more whole. So I started doing that. Started just wanting to learn more about myself. And then one day I was 26 and I had two properties listed, and my fiance told me, "You know what? Why don't you go and pitch these properties at a real estate caravan?" Now,
Mhm.
for those of you who don't know what a real estate caravan is, it's a real estate meeting that realtors, lenders, escrow, title, all different people in the real estate industry get together and they talk about the properties that are on the market, coming soon, buyers' wants and needs, and just a place to network. So a few days later, I go to this meeting, and this was 2 years ago. So I'm shy, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not used to like branching out and introducing myself to people. So I get to the meeting and I'm introducing myself to a few people, just saying hi, introducing myself. That's it. And I find my seat. The meeting gets started. People are going up and they're sharing about their properties. Now I knew that I was going to be speaking that day, and I'm sitting there and I'm nervous. My heart's beating really fast. My palms are sweating. I never did any public speaking in high school or anything. So I was like, oh no, like, what are they
Yeah.
going to think about me? What are they going to say about me? Like, all these thoughts, all these fears are coming to mind. And the host of the meeting gets up and says, okay, does anyone else have any other properties they'd like to share? Please raise your hand. And I'm sitting there, Vic, and I'm like, oh no, this is my time. Like, I got to raise my hand and go up in front of the room right now. And my heart's beating really fast. I'm looking around the room. I'm I'm super nervous, just freaking out inside. But no one knows because I'm just sitting there. They don't know what I'm going through. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh no. And I don't raise my hand. I couldn't do it. It was too much adversity, too much
Oh,
nervousness. I didn't raise my hand. No one knew I planned to present, so they just moved on and everything was fine. But I was not. So I'm sitting there in my mind. I'm just like, oh no, I cannot believe I just passed on that opportunity. So I leave the meeting, and as I'm walking up to my car, I'm just like, I cannot believe that I could not overcome this. Like anytime I've ever hit adversity in my life, I've always been able to overcome it. But this was too much. And
mm.
now I have to go home and tell my fiance I couldn't speak. I couldn't even get up in front of a room of 15 people and just share for a minute, 2 minutes about these properties. Like, what kind of man am I? And I just had a real realization in that moment, like real reflection, like what am I doing? And I'm walking out to my car, and a thought comes to me of, you know what? This is a challenge. This is a challenge for you to overcome yourself, to develop strength within you in an area that you're wanting to avoid, that you're weak in, that you're limited in.
Mm.
And I go home and I tell my fiance I couldn't speak. I'm just so disappointed, just crushed, because I'm disappointed in myself, and I'm sure she's disappointed in me. It makes me feel bad, you know. So I start looking up online. Okay, how can I conquer the fear of public speaking? Because I never want to have this happen again. Like, for me personally, I can never have this happen again. I should feel confident to be able to express myself.
True.
So I come across Toastmasters. Now, for those of you who don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a public speaking club. It's a nonprofit organization. They have clubs all throughout the US where people can go and just practice their public speaking, getting comfortable and being in front of a room and speaking. So I find a club near me, and a few days later, I go to this meeting, and it's like 6:55, 6:57 in the morning, and the meeting
Yeah.
starts at 7. So I'm in the parking lot, and I'm trying to find the room of this office building. There's a ton of different offices. And I'm walking around this office building, and I'm like, okay, there's no signs, there's no labels on the door. Like, where is this meeting being held? I'm scrambling, and it's like bright and early in the morning. And I'm like, oh no, like they're gonna start the meeting soon. So I little do I know, inside the room, the president of the meeting gets up and says, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and kick off the meeting. We're gonna start with any guests this morning. Do we have any guests that want to come up and introduce themselves? Now, at that moment, I found the room, and I'm walking through the door. And
Okay.
he goes, oh, looks like we have a young man that just walked in. Young man, why don't you come on up here, introduce yourself, and conquer that fear of public speaking? Puts the microphone right in my face. And I'm just like, my heart's beating really fast. I'm like, I thought I was going to come in here and get comfortable and sit down. Okay. So I get up to the front of the room. Hi, I'm Michael. I went to a real estate meeting and planned to speak, but I couldn't. So I'm here to practice my public speaking skills. And I give him the microphone. I go back and find my seat. Oh my goodness. What a relief that was. 5-10 seconds, I was up there, as bad as it may have been. I got it over with. Now I could just watch the rest of the meeting. But you know what? That was progress. That was
That
progress
was the
as
experience.
opposed to
Yeah.
a few days before, where I couldn't speak. I couldn't get up in front of the room. So then I go home and tell my fiance, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. I introduced myself. And I go the next week, and the next week, and the next week, just pushing myself that much more.
Mm.
And after 6 months, I started giving speeches, and people would say to me, wow, I remember the first time that you came here. Now you're giving speeches, like you've grown so much. And I would think to myself, like, really? Like, it doesn't feel like that, because every time I came, I was just getting that much better.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take it further. I started going to different clubs
Mm.
with people I've never met before, going and giving
Yes.
a 7-minute speech. I was like, oh my gosh, like it brought back all those same feelings from that first meeting, all that nervousness, being in front of people I don't even know. And I just kept doing that over and over again, 3, 5, 7, 9 meetings in a week, all of 2023. And then I put on my own personal development seminar under a year after that first meeting. Spoke for 45 minutes. And then this past January, I put on my second personal development seminar, spoke for 2 hours. And now I'm a personal development coach, helping people overcome their limiting beliefs, overcome their fears through mindset, fitness, and nutrition. That's why I call it the Higher Self Program, because we are tapping into our higher self, walking in alignment with our higher self, with who we are destined to be, who we are supposed to be. So that's my message. That's what I'm sharing with people today and helping people all over the world.
That's really lovely, I would say, because this is the period, I would say, like when someone need to start. That push is something which is very, very important. And so from there, like as you mentioned, like when you've been to this Toastmaster sessions, and you tried, and then you started that journey. So from there, one thing is coming to my mind, like for the listeners also, like so. When you've been there and you started uh, your practice, and you then slowly you also uh, grown into that field. So in that experience, what have you found the most common challenges that people face in that public speaking? So how do you help them overcome these hurdles?
Yeah, I think the main thing, Vic, is it's so simple. It's so simple. This is it.
Mhm,
Whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you desire in life, whatever you want to become,
mhm,
you're going to go through discomfort. It's going to be
mhm,
uncomfortable. People look at me now. I go and give speeches 5 to 7 times a week, and people say to me, "Wow, you're so confident. Like, how'd you get this confidence?" People talk to me like, "Oh, you're a natural. It's effortless to you." And I think to myself, like, they didn't see me 2 years ago when I had no confidence. I was literally
mhm.
the least confident person that I knew. I couldn't even get in front of a room and say my name.
True.
I mean, that's it right there. So the whole process was very uncomfortable, but it's exactly what I needed to do in order for me to grow and have the strength into the person that I am
Mhm,
today. That's it. It's just, I think the biggest takeaway is understanding that whatever you're striving for, you're going to go through discomfort. And as long as you know it's going to be uncomfortable, then
mhm,
you're more well equipped to understand the challenges that are going to take place rather than seeing the challenges and being like, oh, well, then it must not be for
mhm.
me if it's this hard.
True. Understood. Understood. Lovely. That's really, really lovely. And also, like, so when we're talking about this, so mindset shifts, like, what are some of the practical mindset shifts that anyone from anywhere can start implementing to today, to begin their journey towards the personal development and the self improvement?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to understand the conscious mind is your immediate awareness. It's what's taking place right now. I can see you, you can see me. We have our environment around us. This is our conscious mind. But there's something that's called our subconscious mind. It's underneath our conscious level of awareness. And that's where all the programs, all these beliefs, all these habits are that we just act on things without even thinking. And that's what's
Mm,
driving us to feel, hey, I'm not that confident. I'm not a great public speaker. Well, why? It's because of all these things in your subconscious that are telling you that. But we understand this, but all these subconscious beliefs, programs, habits, all these things, they came from when we were children. So when you're born, you're brand new on the scene. Your mind is blank, right? You've been programmed genetically, but your subconscious mind is completely wide open. You aren't born and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I want to go home now." You're not aware, right? Your conscious mind's not developed. So at that time, all the thoughts, all the images, all the feelings, all the emotions that's going on around you are being picked up by your subconscious mind. That's why you speak the
exactly.
language you speak. That's why you like the food that you like. That's why you dress the way you do. It's because it's all been downloaded and programmed into you when you were just a child.
Mm,
So that's where people develop the belief of, oh, it must mean that you have to work really hard to earn money, or all rich people are bad, or I'm who am I to get up in front of a room and speak? You develop all these beliefs from such a young age. It's something that's known as the self image. Our self image is literally guiding our lives. How do we see ourselves?
mm,
At the end of the day, how do you really see yourself? So that is the biggest takeaway that you can take today, and the mindset shift that you can make right now is understanding that all these things that maybe you felt for a long time or you believe about yourself, that's not really you. That's not you. It's just been programmed in you. So if you can write down on a sheet of paper or an index card who you want to be in that style of living, I'm earning $1 million a day. I'm speaking on stages all over the world. If you can write that down and read it every day to yourself and see yourself as that in your imagination, you will be guided to that naturally over time. It's not going to happen like that. That's the biggest misconception. People think that it's just one day to another someone just got this success. Well, why don't you ask Jeff Bezos how it worked for him? If you asked him, "Hey Jeff, wow, you're an overnight success," he'd laugh in your face. He'd be like, you don't realize what I went through of years and years and years."
Exactly.
But that's the biggest shift that you can make right now is writing down exactly who you want to be. If you could literally imagine yourself living any kind of reality that you want, writing it down and believing that you are that person now. Don't resonate with the things that are taking place right now. This isn't you. You're on your
Mm.
way to your goal. That is the biggest mindset shift that you can make right now.
That's really lovely. So, also about the fitness and the personal growth. So, how do you see the connection between the physical fitness and the personal growth? Like, if you can share any of the personal anecdotes where fitness played a crucial role in your development.
So the thing is with fitness, our body influences our mind.
Hmm.
Have you ever just been exhausted or stressed out and you're tired? Your body's feeding you all kinds of thoughts, or you
Exactly.
eat, say you eat a slice of cake or a couple
Hmm.
slices of cake or just junk food. Your body will influence your mind, all these negative thoughts, all these negative feelings, and it causes you to fall into that rut. But the thing that we have to understand is that our mind is, or our body is just a reflection of our mind. So it's not about going to the gym and getting strong and getting jacked and being ripped. It's about taking care of your mind. Because by going to the gym and working out, well, what are you doing? You're working it out. You're working out all that anxiety, all those fears, all those worries, all that doubt. You're working it out. You're putting yourself in adversity and you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and you're getting used to that. Every time you go to the gym, waking up in the morning, 4:30, going to the gym at 5, you're pushing yourself so far out of your comfort zone that you are now telling the body that you are in control. I'm going to say that I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it rather than falling victim to what your body wants. That's that's the biggest takeaway. Just talking about fitness, it's not necessarily for the muscles that you're going to gain or the body that you're going to create. Those are side effects of what you are doing to your mind.
So, thanks for sharing this, and also this, like, you talk about helping people to create their reality. So, can you explain like what this means and how someone can start taking steps towards creating the life that they dream of?
Okay. So the thing is
Mm.
that you must understand that you are in a place right now, whatever's taking place in your
Yeah.
life, whatever the income that you have, whatever car you're driving, whatever house, condo, townhome, whatever you're living in, that is your current reality. It is what it is. That's fine. You must understand where you are and you must understand where you want to go. So, like I said earlier, you have to choose the reality that it is that you want. If you could literally take the lid off of your imagination, take the lid off of your mind, and use your imagination to see yourself how you really want to see yourself. I'm the world's greatest personal development coach. I'm speaking all over the world.
Mm.
I'm a mentor to millions of
Wow.
people. All get so clear on what it is that you want and write it down. Write it down every single morning. See yourself as that every single day. Because this is not, don't resonate with this.
Mm.
Resonate with what you see in your imagination,
True.
because that is reality. If you really think about it, those images, that imagination, what you see, that vision, that's not coming from nowhere. That's coming from God. That's coming from the universe. We've all been put here for a specific purpose. We
Mm.
all have our own special calling. That's that's how I discovered this for me. I didn't, Vic, when I was just going through that and I was looking up the Bob Proctor stuff, I had no clue what life had planned for me, what God had planned for me. I was just following my heart, following what felt right. And it led, and it's leading to more and more greater things for me.
Mm.
It it just comes down to listening to our heart, getting clear and listening to our conscience.
Exactly.
That's what I refer to as the higher self. It's our conscience. It's the authentic voice of God. And if you can listen to that voice and follow that voice, you will live your life's purpose. But
True.
here's the trick: is you have to get out of, in order for you to actually hear that voice, you have to get out of all the negative vices. Get away from all the drinking, get away from
Mm.
all the partying. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't party. I'm not a womanizer. I don't do any of these things because I know what's best for me. I'm listening to my heart, I'm listening to my conscience. I'm living my life's purpose, and I'm doing everything that I can to maximize that in my life every single day, because this is what I feel is true. This is what I believe we all should be living as.
Mm.
Pure, pure, and getting rid of those vices. Well, you don't really like when you drink. You don't really like when you do drugs. You don't really like when you womanize. It may be fun in the moment, but after
Yeah.
you do it, you you think it was a waste of time. You look at it like, that was stupid. The decisions that I made, the actions that I took, it wasn't worth it. And it leads to all kinds of hurt in yourself, in your family, in your friends,
Mm.
and not just in immediately present to you, but it's causing an impact in the world. The actions that you take are not just impacting you, your family, your friends, but it's impacting all kinds of people that you may not even know. Someone could even see you doing that action and be influenced by it. So
Mm.
that's the most important thing, is for us to listen to our conscience and get away from all these things that we know we shouldn't even be doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Great. Lovely. So, what are some of the daily habits or maybe the routines you recommend for someone who are looking to align with their higher selves and make a positive changes in their life?
So this is what my whole program is based on. The higher self, I have a daily process, daily program that is to align them with their higher self. And I'll share a little bit with you. It starts with the early morning wake up. I get up at
Okay.
4:30. You can get up at 4, you can get up at 5, 6, 7, whatever it may be. Set a time for yourself. Set a time that's earlier than you would normally wake up.
Mm.
It's going to be hard. It may be uncomfortable for you to get up. That's the most uncomfortable thing to do, is to get up out of bed when you're nice and cozy, it's nice and warm, you're under the sheets, and that alarm's going off. For you to get up in that moment rather than just stay there, it's comfortable, right? But
True.
so it starts with the early morning wake up. You're already putting yourself through adversity right there. Just getting up when you say you're going to get up, because that's the most important thing. People
Mm.
aren't doing what they're saying.
True.
Anything with anything. People say they're going to do this. I was just with someone the other day. I was like, "Hey, you want to go to the gym tomorrow, 6 a.m.?" And they were like, "Yeah, let's go." So then the next day comes, and it's like 5:40, and I'm like, "All right, you ready to go?" And they're laying in bed. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to leave here in 10 minutes." And they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, you know what? Just go without me." And I'm just like, "What?" Like, I'm like, "Okay," and I go, but I'm like, "How can you operate like that?" It's because people are making promises to themselves and then they're breaking them. So no wonder why they don't have any confidence. So it starts with the early morning wake up and then going and crushing a workout. Go and crush a workout. Push yourself. Break your body. Not necessarily break it in the sense of like hurt yourself, but push your body to where it's not feeding you the thoughts of like, oh, I want to go lay down. I want to go have some candy or whatever. Not you are putting yourself through physical exercise and you're getting into peak physical performance. No negative internal state can coexist while in peak physical performance. No one's ever gotten done with a workout and been like, oh, oh my gosh, I feel like shit. People feel great. They feel lifted. They're like, wow, yes, I did it. Like I got it done. So it gets them in that elevated state. That's the second thing. And then from there, you have daily tasks. You set yourself daily tasks the night before. And I like to do 5 things. 5 things. Set yourself 5 daily tasks that you're going to do the next day. And you cross those things off when you do them the next day and you put a W next to them. That's your win. You're stacking those wins. And just it may seem so simple, but just by crossing it off and putting a W on it, it makes you feel good. Like, hey, I'm making progress here. Like I'm doing the things that I'm saying I'm going to do and I'm crossing them off. Okay. So the 5 daily tasks, they're not goals. They're just action steps to push you towards your goal. It's just focus on the action step and it's non-negotiable. You have to do them because if you don't do them, you're not following through. That's the most important thing. That's all we can do is just do the things that we say we're going to do. Okay, so you do the 5 tasks. Then it comes to the nutrition. Self-mastery is determined by what we ingest. That's the highest form of self-mastery, is what we ingest. Not just food, but content, conversations, the actions that we take. These are all things that we're consuming throughout our day. But the food, you must understand your macros. You must understand macros are macronutrients, carbs, fats, proteins. And these are in all foods. Did you know that 73% of the US population is overweight? And 43% of the US population is obese, meaning over 100 pounds overweight? It's because they don't understand their macros. They don't when I started learning my macros, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm eating so much fat per day. It's insane. But we just aren't aware. So counting your fats, counting your carbs, counting your proteins, this is what's going to get you in the shape that you want. Get your body in the shape that you want. It's a scientific equation. There's no doubt about it. If you eat little fat, high protein, good amount of carbs, you're going to drop weight. There's no doubt about it. But the problem is people just aren't aware of what it takes. They don't know macros. They don't have the discipline to do that. But that's what it comes down to. Understanding the food that we ingest, the macros, the fitness, having a program that we're following that keeps us disciplined, and then the mindset to understand that, hey, you're going to go through adversity. If you're avoiding adversity, conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. So if you're avoiding it now, it's going to come out later. I avoided public speaking from my freshman year of high school. I got up in front of the room to speak. I was so nervous. I went and sat back down. They moved on to the next person. I told my teacher, never call on me again to do any presentations, public speaking. And she didn't. So I told all my teachers in high school, don't call on me to do any public speaking. So they never did. Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied, to where 10 years later, I'm at that real estate meeting and it all added up and I couldn't run away from it anymore. And look what it did. I pushed through that adversity and it created this life for me. Created me even being able to be here on this podcast and able to talk. A personal development coach, comfortable with talking to people all over the world. This is where our growth really lies. It's like what Einstein said. Adversity introduces a man to himself. I didn't know I was capable of this, but now I know my potential, my true self. And that's why you see I can speak like this. I'm so confident.
Wow, lovely. That's really, really. So, also, what advice for the aspiring entrepreneurs, like for the listeners who are aspiring to be the entrepreneurs or looking to make a big change in their life, what advice would you give them to start their journey and stay motivated at the same time?
So if you want to start your journey, if you're thinking about doing something, listen to your heart. Think about what it is that you truly want. Take some time for yourself without being
Mm,
influenced by other people or whatever their opinions may be. Take some time for yourself. Get out a journal, piece of paper, notes in your phone, and really think and write down what it is that you want. If you could, like I said, if you could take the lid off of your mind and just really imagine what it is that you want and write it down and be specific. I want to have this many cars. I want to have this type of a wife. I want to have this type of a family. I want to be able to travel like this. These types of homes. Live in this area. Whatever it is. Really dream. Write it down specifically. That's the first step. So understand that this desire that you've written down, it has an appointed hour. Now, I'm not very religious. I'm not crazy about religion or anything. I grew up as a Christian Catholic, but I wasn't really too involved in it. But
yeah.
I've read parts of the Bible, and
Mm,
one quote that's really stuck with me is Habakkuk 2:2.
okay.
Write the vision and make it
Mm,
plain, so that he who reads it may run to it.
true.
Okay. So then the second part of that vision, or the second part of that quote, Habakkuk 2:3, the vision has its own appointed hour. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure, and it will not be late. There's no doubt about it. You are a seed. You are growing into this desire that you have. We seem to understand it when it comes to carrots. About 21 days, a carrot seed takes to sprout. A child, 9 months, a horse, 11 months. We seem to understand it when it comes to nature or seeds, plants, things like that. But when we think about our own desire, we think, oh no, like we can't specify the timeline. It doesn't work the same way. It does. It does. One of the laws of the universe is the law of gender, and that states that all seeds or creations have a gestation or an incubation period that must elapse before it manifests. So, like I said, we understand it when it comes to a seed. We put the seed in the ground, we water it,
Mm,
take care of it, and we wait. We know it's coming into fruition. We don't doubt it. When someone gets their wife pregnant, they don't wait 3 months and say, "Should we go to the hospital? Let's have the kid." We are aware that it's going to be 9 months. So what do? You start planning for it. You start painting the walls. You start buying the crib. You start buying the baby clothes, baby food. You're not tripping about it because you understand that this process must take place. And that's the biggest thing. So understanding what it is that you want and keeping
mm,
motivated through the process. How do you keep motivated through the process? You understand that the process is taking place and it's natural for a process to take place. You don't trip about, oh my gosh, is it happening? Is it happening? Is it happening? People freak out and they paralyze themselves by worrying, by doubting, by having fears, all these disbeliefs. And they're taking valuable energy away from just doing the work and being in the process and knowing that it's going to come. It's the energy that they are wasting on all the worries, fears, doubts, all that stuff. That's how you keep motivated. is you see it in your mind as if it's already happened. And you know it's only a matter of time. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be in 6 months, it may not be in 5 years, it may not even be in 10 years. But I
Exactly.
guarantee you, you are going to be making progress towards it. That's how you stay motivated through the whole process.
That's really lovely. Lovely, great. And that wraps up another inspiring episode, the live episodes of Healthy Waves. And we hope that all of you have enjoyed diving into the world of mindset, fitness, and the personal development with one and only Michael. So, Michael's journey from the real estate to becoming the beacon of personal growth is a testament to the power of resilience and at the same time transformative potential of aligning with their higher selves. So, in today's discussion, if today's discussion has resonated with you, make sure to check out Michael's higher self program and follow his journey for more insights on creating the lives uh, you have always dreamed of. So remember that the transformation begins with a single step and the courage to pursue your highest potential. So thank you again for tuning in, and as always, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep riding those waves of the change. And do not forget to subscribe to Healthy Waves for more expert discussions and the inspiring stories. So until next time, keep striving for a healthy mind and a healthy life. So with this, thank you so much.
Well, if you guys want to follow me, go on to Michael Vincent Mindset on Instagram. Get in touch with me there. I DM everyone back. So check that
Definitely.
out. And then also michaelvincentmindset.com.
Yeah, and I'll put this into the show notes also so that it will be much easier for all of you to reach out to him. So with this, have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.